Good morning. Welcome to the market forecast for Wednesday, November the 4th. The sun came up today like every other day, and we had some sort of an election last night that we still don't know the outcome. We may not know the outcome for some period of time. Just going to start, as always, my name is John Hoagland. Thanks for trusting me with your time. Always thinking about the markets in context through the lens of risk management. I think today is another example of what can happen, will happen. A lot of folks expecting high volatility, some big moves. It seems as though we're just in a holding pattern. My title yesterday was "Hurry Up and Wait," and it seems that's what we're continuing to do today. See a lot of folks here today. Thanks for joining me. As always, we're going to start with the eco numbers came out this morning. We do have an FOMC meeting that begins today. That release will be tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock. The Adp Employment change came out this morning. They were looking for 650,000 increase in new jobs. It was only 365,000. Doesn't seem to have affected markets all that much. We also had the trade balance at 7:30 this morning, which was slightly lower or worse than expected. 9 o'clock, we have the ISM PMI numbers due out, and of course, it's Wednesday. We have the 9:30 EIA Petroleum Status Report due out. As far as news is concerned, the election is too close to call. Still millions of votes yet uncounted. Stocks higher, tech outperforming the other sectors. Headline risks are huge today. You're going to want to keep one ear, one eye on the news today. If there is some sort of outcome or some sort of news that comes out, we're probably going to see it in the markets first. We're going to take a look at the dome for the S&Ps this morning, and you're going to see how thin it is. A lot of liquidity is out of the markets, but certain markets are putting up some pretty decent volume overnight, mainly the currencies. We're going to see that shortly. With the election last night, I guess gig workers like Lyft and Uber drivers got a good nod from California. They're still going to be able to be gig workers. 4 states yesterday legalized marijuana. That's New Jersey, Arizona, South Dakota, and Mississippi. Crude prices strong overnight to some degree. The API announced an 8 million barrel draw. We're looking for the API announced an 8 million barrel draw last night. We're looking for less than a million barrel draw from the EIA today. We'll have to wait till 9:30 to figure that out. A lot of folks are expecting volatility, but not showing in the VIX very much. VIX is down 14% last time I checked a few minutes ago, down at 30.60. So a lot of volatility being taken out of the market. These markets extremely resilient. We know that. So apparently some of the downside risk out of the market, at least for now. Anything can change in a heartbeat. That is for sure. The dollar index still hanging right around that $93.50. Not a big mover this morning. I want to remind everybody, today is Market Therapy, 3:15. After the close. I just put the URL in the live chat there. You can just click on that, register for it. Dr. Menaker is going to be with us for about an hour. He's going to be talking about how our ability to withstand discomfort is a huge part of our trading. And then, of course, we're going to be answering questions from you. You're going to have the opportunity to ask a clinical psychologist who is an active trader and works with institutional traders questions about you, about your psychology, about what you might find to help you get to where you want to go. I'm always very excited on Market Therapy Wednesdays. I want to say good morning to everybody. Lots of folks saying good morning. Felix, good to see you. First one in the room, you win the prize. Charles, good morning. What a night and now a day. Yes, Danielle, guten Tag. Patrick Murphy was up till 2 a.m. before he went to bed last night watching the returns coming in. I didn't stay up that late. I didn't sleep all that well. I had the TV on, but I was probably in bed around 9:30, 10 o'clock, something like that. Got a pretty good night's sleep, but was just kind of keeping one eye on the TV set to see if there was any resolution or any quick outcome of this election. Good morning, Tanya. Good morning, Michael, Charles. Tanya was in bed at 7:30 Mountain Time as usual. Very nice job. Very nice job. We all knew that the sun was going to come up today no matter what, right? Charles, good to see you. Brian Walters, good to see you. Charles, I'm sure that there's some sort of an error there. Make sure you contact our world-class support team. They'll get that fixed right up for you. Yes, email. Thank you, Tanya. Our customer service reps are bar none the best in the world. Good morning, James, Steve, Nicholas, Caesar, Vast West, Rob T, Doyle, Chris Todman, Brian Walters voted here in PA. That's all I can do. That's all any of us can do, and I'm glad that you took the time and you voted. That's our job. That's what we have to do. Good morning, Tasha. Let's ride that money train today. Well, that's usually the idea, but we're always thinking risk first, right? Risk first. We got to make sure that we are managing our risk. That's going to help us get to where we want to go. Good morning, Jack, and good morning, Ute. Good to see everybody. Joshua, good to see you. All right, without further ado, why don't we jump in and take a look at and see what we're seeing in these charts this morning. See what we can figure out for us. Okay, this is the daily in crude. So, we've kind of like stocks. I mean, the market, we had some news from overseas. Maybe they were going to start slowing production. We had a drop last night, according to the API, in crude by 8 million barrels. The weekly kickoff high that we broke out of yesterday, we went back down and retested last night. Boy, I just wish that I had more opportunities for that to happen during the regular trading hour session. Again, the EIA is looking for a 900,000 barrel draw, less than a million after that 8 million barrel draw announced by the API. We have to wait and see. What about volume? Volume was off a little bit yesterday, as it was in most markets, as we were waiting an outcome that we are still waiting for in the election. Open interest lost 22,000 in open interest on this big move to the upside. I would say that that information about the overseas production reductions caught a whole bunch of traders short in the hole down here. And that yesterday was a pretty big unraveling of it. Today, our overnight, again, a test of weekly kickoff low. What was support may become resistance, now perhaps becomes support again. Upside, I'm looking for about $40 before we start to get into this consolidation area, which could be viewed as a supply area. Down below, I'm looking for that opportunity to test that weekly kickoff low, if we even get that opportunity today. The 30-minute, we opened, looks like we have closed the gap on the open. So this gap is either going to mean we are going to work to accept inside of yesterday's range and or value, or reject it. This is kind of a high target area here. Settlement is down here at 37.66. We're holding some overnight longs here, but if those overnight longs get the sense that they're going to see continued longer time frame buyers coming in, they'll hold those positions. Again, it is EIA day. I'm probably not going to be too eager to get into too many positions here before that number comes out in crude oil. Doesn't look like our opening range is either the high or the low of the session. Again, closing the gap takes some of the upside out of it, but again, if we can't accept in any part of the range from yesterday, that may mean we would be looking for higher prices. Information pending. I'm going to try and stay patient. Keep your ears and eyes on the news, folks, because these markets are very resilient, but they are also hypersensitive today. If something bad comes out, something good comes out, we're going to see some pretty decent moves in that case. But all we can do is trade what we're going to see, trade what we see. Last night, I would call last night a relatively calm night because there's no conclusion of the election. It was a little volatile. It whipped around. It checked high, checked low, really kind of went up and down, up and down. But for our purposes, we see this market continuing to the upside. If you were listening last week and earlier this week, we were noticing signs that this downside auction was tiring with, perhaps the benefit of new information or whatever. The market did bottom down there relatively close to the 10% correction level here. That is our weekly kickoff low here. Haven't had the opportunity to get an execution at that level this week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We've been just kind of one time framing higher, and I don't see anything other than news that's going to stop that. These markets, again, are very resilient. When there's no bad news, they just grind to the upside. You can see how volume has fallen off over the past couple of sessions. I'm expecting some higher volume no matter what happens today. We lost 3,900 in open interest on this move to the upside again. Probably more a function of shorts stuck in the hole here, getting out and bringing that buying power into the marketplace. So volume, open interest, and profile information gave us the idea that we were maybe putting in a bottom, and we wanted to look to buy weakness in this market, and I think that still exists. Today, last night, we broke out above our weekly kickoff high, which was 33.90. A lot of folks talking about 33.80. A lot of folks talking about 3,400 because that was 33.9650 was the all-time high in the September contract before we continued and put in this new high here. So this is kind of a target-rich environment. It's going to be somewhat pivotal. Take a look at what we're seeing in the 30-minute chart here. All right. So in essence, the last 3 days we've been one-time framing higher. We've got higher lows. We've got higher highs. We never did close the gap yesterday. We did take that look down to this 33.20 previous weekly kickoff level. Our overnight high is also a previous weekly kickoff level of 34.30. We're going to be opening with a gap. Look at settlement here. Let's see here. 33.6150 is settlement. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times the market traded at either side of settlement last night. A lot of indecision, a little bit of thin market. Take a look at what we're seeing in the dome this morning. This is the E-mini S&P dome. Okay, normally at this time before the open, we're probably seeing 100 to 200 contracts for bid or for offer before the open even. We don't even see any three-digit numbers here. This market is extremely thin, and if there is a major event, it is going to be very volatile, and it is going to rip one way or another because there's not a lot of participants in this. It's before the open, I get that, but normally we're gonna be seeing three digits on most of these bids and offers. We're seeing 20. Occasionally, hey, there's 120, there's 100 there. Who knows if that's going to stay there? So we're seeing a very thin market in our equities this morning, and I think that's going to kind of create the opportunity for the market to go a little bit further, to go a little bit too far. It's probably not going to be respecting short time frame levels today. So far, we've seen it respect a couple of longer time frame previous weekly kickoff levels. So I'm really going to try and focus on that. We are opening with a gap, so we're going to have gap rules. We've been one time framing higher. The information that we talked about last week should really have been kind of keeping us looking for opportunities to the long side, and I think that still exists. We get the opportunity down here at 33.90 to see an execution there. I like it because I'm going to be able to limit my risk. Limit my risk. Limit my risk. That's the goal. We all want to be here to trade tomorrow. If we don't manage our risk well today, should something happen, this could be, one of those days. And I know all of us know what one of those days means. Let's take a look at the Nasdaq now. I want to get everybody down to business before the equity open. So the Nasdaq, we added 2,600 in open interest on that move yesterday to the upside. Daily volume, again, has been weak. It's to be expected. We're already seeing better volume in our currencies than we saw yesterday. All day, it's 8:15 in the morning, 8:16 in the morning. But back to the Nasdaq, markets are just kind of seeming to shrug off the uncertainty of the U.S. election. And markets don't usually like uncertainty. We've lost volatility. We see the market just continuing to move higher. What's it all mean? Well, again, we have to trade what we're going to see. We have to trade what we see. The weekly kickoff high is in play here. That weekly kickoff high is 11,550. We're above it. If it remains supportive, this could be another opportunity for us to look for a long. We've been looking for opportunities to buy weakness in our equities for a couple of days now, and I don't think that this changes that, although news can change everything. Okay? All right. Again, headline risks. That's what we're talking about. If something changes, the face of the market, the flavor, the personality of the market can change very, very quickly. I didn't get settlement on here, so let's put settlement on here. Always like to know where settlement is. 2265.75. Close enough for rock and roll. So settlement is all the way down here. We're holding some overnight longs. Those overnight longs might just bring us the opportunity to find an area of weakness that we want to buy. Remember, if there is a news event, you're going to see it in the market first. Before you go find it, before you check Twitter, before you check the news, it's going to hit the market before we're going to have the opportunity to see it. Be prepared for that. Make sure you are protected. So, to me, the high and low are, of course, going to be important levels. We've got the market opening with a gap. If we can't close this gap, which is relatively substantial, I'll look for opportunities to buy, to trade in the direction of the gap. Again, we've got some pretty substantial overnight longs. If they don't see what they're looking for, that might be just enough to give us that opportunity to look for that weakness, perhaps to get that opportunity for a better trade location to the long side. Here's what we're talking about in our currencies. We've got 1645 weekly kickoff low. We took a look down below it last night. Already look at the volume. Okay, this is today's volume so far. It's already better than the last 2 or 3 sessions. Volume coming back into these currencies. We ran the range last night. Weekly kickoff low to almost weekly kickoff high. Volume already higher. Open interest yesterday was relatively moot. We lost 700 in open interest. Probably some shorter time frame shorts got stuck in the hole here and helped this move to the upside. Now we're back to central location inside weekly kickoff levels. That leads me to believe that we may be a little bit more short time frame controlled, other than the fact that we see all this volume. What are we seeing on the 30-minute chart? Okay. Another kind of volatile, wild night, right? We had settlement right here, which is 117.16 and a half. We took a look up near weekly kickoff high. We took a look at weekly kickoff low. Very volatile, but where did we open? We opened right back in range and in value. So I'm going to try and stay patient in that regard. If we open near this point of control, if we spend some time here, we may fall into repair, which would give us that opportunity for an execution down near this weekly kickoff low, which is a previous day settlement, which is an unchecked point of control in regular trading hours. So this down here is really lining up as a target-rich environment. If traders' eyes are on that, we'll get our chance to see to get an execution down at this level. Again, no real overnight positioning, no real urgency to get into this market as we've opened back in value. Take a look at the Japanese yen. Again, almost ran the range last night. A little bit of volatility. Must have been a very interesting evening for those of you that were trading the currencies last night. Already, again, we've got much higher volume today. Domes across the board are a little bit thinner today. A lot of folks probably just sitting and waiting for the right opportunity, or just sitting and watching today. Not a bad idea, because again, we have big possible headline risks that can move these markets before we even know what happened. Open interest, basically no change in open interest. Still relatively centrally located between weekly kickoff high and weekly kickoff low, which indicates short time frame control. Doesn't look like any of our short time frame levels were respected last night. It was our longer term weekly kickoff high and low that were more respected than our short time frame levels. So possibly some new business coming into this market. All right. Take a look at the 30-minute. Okay, we opened with a gap. We've closed the gap. If we reaccept inside value from yesterday, there's a pretty good chance we may see an opportunity for an execution back down around settlement or low of value. It seems as though the market may be coming off some light overnight longs by the time we open today. But I'm again gonna try and stay kind of patient in this, because again, we're just kind of trading back into range, back into value. I don't see that this value area special situation play is necessarily worth too much risk to get into. It's a very small range, very small value area from yesterday. So again, I'm going to try and stay patient. Look for short time frame levels to lean on, even though they may not necessarily be as respected. Again, the markets are thin, the liquidity is low. This is going to affect how far markets go according to the levels that you're looking at. It is going to also probably affect the amount of slippage that you're going to be dealing with on some of the stops. Make sure that you're accounting for the fact that you may get a few ticks of slippage on some of your stops. It's just a function of the marketplace. All right, so good morning, Jack Ute Philip. Hey, Rational Investors here. Good to see you. Make sure you come to our market therapy, Brian. It's going to be a good one. 3:15. I'll put the URL in the chat room again. Just sign up. Come if you can. Always looking forward to seeing you. How do I have access to the chart Top Step provides? Well, Joshua, if you're in a trading combine or even in a practice account, you'll have access to those charts. Thinking that you're already in the program, so I'm not sure which charts you're talking about, or if there's a particular platform that you're talking about. But and also, don't forget about the group coaching today. I'm going to put the URL in for the group coaching as well. That's at 1 o'clock this afternoon. That's just me answering questions and spending some time with everybody. Also, one of my favorite parts of the week. That second URL is for the group coaching. If you are so inclined, if you're not busy, if you're Joshua, yeah, that's 3:15 Central Time is the market forecast with the Dr. Andrew Medeker platform, I mean. If you're in a trading combine and you've chosen a platform, you are going to have to stay with that platform unless you cancel your subscription, reopen a new subscription, and choose another another platform. If you contact our support team, they'll be happy to tell you how that goes. All right? Okay, we've got about 4 minutes before the equity open. I'm going to be done yammering. Great to see everybody this morning. Be careful today. Nothing wrong with just sitting back and watching and learning something. Again, headline risks are high. These markets are very sensitive today, very thin. Be careful. All right, so take a deep breath. Always feels good. Stay humble, grateful, and creative in your trading today. Get out there and profit. Trade well. I'll see you probably at 3 o'clock for the market recap, and then 3:15 with the good doctor and market therapy. Trade well, everyone. Have a great day.